Okay. I got you here.
Okay, there we are. We're live. Okay. So we're all sharing our streaming to our various pages so that we can reach those of you who want to be here with us today. So thanks for your patience as we get started. This, I believe, is the 5th episode of Putting It Into Words with Christopher Johnson and Wendy Ibrahim. And I am so excited that we have a fantastic guest with us today, and I'll wait till she's done on her phone to introduce her.
Hello.
Hi. So I'm really grateful that Pamela accepted our invitation to talk today. Pamela Grey Daniel is a recent colleague of mine, and we connected through coronavirus. We were showing gratitude during coronavirus when we had time to reach out to each other. You are in Virginia, correct?
I am in Virginia. Yep.
And she is the author of this awesome book. It's called Healing Our History, Co-Creating a Culture of Oneness. And I love it. It's a great little primer. I highly recommend it for folks who are looking to get beyond the age of divisiveness that we're in, and show up to the age of divisiveness and we're in a way that shows oneness and empowerment and possibility for unity.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited where our conversation will go today. Christopher and Pamela are meeting for the first time. And I trust we're going to have some really neat conversations.
Yeah.
So Pamela, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? And
yeah, sure. So again, my name is Pamela Grey Daniel. I am a social unity and oneness practitioner, and I'm also an allyship coach. So social unity and oneness practitioner may sound like something made up, and it is. I made it, but it speaks to what I desire to do. And so I've always felt that I'm a bridge, that I'm here to connect people who are deeply separated. And so unity, social unity, and oneness is a practice that I am constantly about, that I'm constantly putting myself through examination to be a unifying force for our common humanity. So that's basically me and what I do. I'm also an author, and just working to really unite people is my heart's desire and goal. So thank you for having me, Wendy and Christopher. It's so nice to meet you.
super nice to meet you too.
I wanted to start because I'm sorry, Wendy. I wanted to just ask a question. You said that you made up that word. Can you say it again, please? The title that you made up? Social
unity and oneness practitioner.
It's perfect. So our whole thing is about the language around, race, racism, the lexicon that is going on with everything in the world. And so me and Wendy got together and started talking about the glossary that I created with this play that I wrote. And so I want to know, just right off the bat, how many terms in your writing of the book of social unity and oneness practitioner, how much of that language is your language that you designed and created? And can you actually give us a couple of terms just as an example so that we can understand how it works, where you create the language in which you create the world in which you live in? Because I'm a total believer of our words have meaning and value, and it's like magic. So the minute we say something, it manifests it into what we say and we believe it. And then the only thing that we need is everybody else to get on board with what the term needs. And then it's building a pyramid. Now that we all believe, it's there. So I would like to know a couple of other terms that's important to you here before we get started, just so that I can catch into what it is that you do.
Yeah, so I really do believe words have power as well. And I think there's so, I don't think that there's new words though. I think that sometimes we get a glimpse and we catch a whiff of the fragrance that the universe has been speaking all along, right? And so oneness is something that, quite honestly, I didn't think it was a real thing. It's just one day I was reading something and I heard we are one. We are one. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I grew up in the Christian background, and I went to the Bible and saw this part where Yeshua is talking to God. He says, let them be one, let them be in me like I am in you. And so oneness was
My
this
God.
theme that came to me, and I began to write. And as I was writing, I don't want to say I'm not that smart, but I don't feel like these concepts are my own, that there's something that I'm catching, that I'm downloading from infinite intelligence, right? And the funny thing that I noticed is that as I began to grasp these concepts, there were other people who were speaking the same language, Wendy being one of them, where it's like, oh yeah, we're speaking the same thing. And so I don't really have any terminology that I use outside of just trying to, I use different words that are already there to express what I'm trying to say. So when I say social unity, we all know what, our society, of how we interact with one another, and then understanding how we're connected. And that's also oneness. And I use social unity because some people don't understand oneness. They're like, what's that? Is that sameness? And I'm like, absolutely not, right? Sameness is something that means that we all are melding into this soup that where you can't taste the flavor of anything. But oneness is understanding that we are all emanations of the same source. And so we're like little arms of the same presence. And when we understand that, we understand how something happening in this community does really affect us all. And so that's where my work really focuses on helping people understand, like, we're not doing diversity. We're not saying, hey, this social justice issue is an issue and you should get behind it because this group of people are suffering and, you should do it because it's the right thing to do. It's like, no, it's because we're a body. we are part of this cosmic body and we're connected. And so something that happens to a part of us does affect us, but sometimes we don't understand and acknowledge the ways that it does. And so it's about connecting, having conversations, and then understanding, like, oh, so when we take up space, everybody has 10 minutes. I mean, everybody has 2 minutes in a room and it's 20 of us and, there's only 10 minutes to speak and I speak for 3. Well, guess what? I've taken away from somebody else and now they are left being marginalized and unheard. So I'm going to stop talking after saying that, so I don't take up too much space. But that's basically where I'm coming from and what I am pointing people towards understanding.
You're teaching compassion.
Yeah, yeah. I'm teaching unconditional love and understanding. Yeah.
That was great. Wendy, I'm going to shut up now too, because I don't want to take up more space. Because I just joke.
I am on here with you because I want to be in space with you. We're taking up space. So that's amazing. I was watching you respond, Christopher, with your snapping and your nodding and your smiling. There's like a resonance here. That's
well. So I grew up in my New Jersey. Grew up with a whole bunch of Jersey. Grew up with a whole bunch of Black people in my neighborhood, and African sayings were getting thrown around. And one of the things that I grew up with is what happens to my brother happens to me. So when we say, so you were talking about that, what happens to the person next to you, and so like I was just like, yes, I got it. And being a poet and a person of words and things of that nature, I was with you all the way. There's one thing that I am having a problem with, and it's not with you per se. A friend of mine got me reading Ibrahim X Kende's book, How to Be Anti-Racist. That one, yes, that one. So I'm on chapter 5, and the thing about oneness, in chapter 4 that he was killing me with was that whole, humans are 99.9% all connected and the same. So there's no difference between us, like genetically, physically, and all of that. And in my head, I'm a hip hop kid. And I mean, like, I'm 49. I grew up in hip hop. You can't take that away from me. You can't tell me that that thing inside me that gets me in a cipher and gets my head bobbing and makes me improv those words right off the top of my head. I really believe that that is ours. And so, like, I was just mad at him. I was just mad. So when we, yeah, you get it. I was just mad at him for, like, trying to take that from me. But when we talk about the idea and the concept of oneness, this is something that we've been preaching and talking about for a very long time.
Yeah.
But when we get into, like, why races were developed, and it's about being opportunist. It's about being able to take somebody and say, well, my race is more superior than yours, so therefore we're going to break up the world into 5 races, and these are the categories. And so, like, this race has a genetic propensity to be slaves. This race will eventually die off. Like just going by all of that. The compassion that you speak of is very much needed. And I'm wondering if we can put all of our cultural differences aside to work on that oneness that you speak of.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that I believe, or this is my piece of the puzzle, is that the reason why race was created was we as humans have 2 natures. We have our true nature, which is benevolent, and then we have our ego, right? And so when we are in a place where we're feeling insecure, we try to create securities. We think that this world and everyone in it, that we're in competition with one another. And so it's this competition mindset, it's this division mindset that really takes us to a place of, oh, well, this culture, that culture, right? And so we're always trying to figure out, well, which one's right? And then when we get to this place where we understand it's all right, like it's all here to create this richness of experience. Like the corn doesn't say to the cilantro, like, just chill out in the chili, right? It's like, come on, bring that flavor. And so when we understand that we are all created to create, because we are from the creator, right? So we're here to co-create an experience together, not compete to try to, get the other one to see who wins. It's about us all winning. And so when we get to that place in our understanding, and that's why it's a practice, because there will be times where I'm like, yeah, I get that. And then, I see something and I'm like, oh man, it feels like that person's in my lane. Do you know what I mean? But it's a practice that you really just have to remind yourself, like, I'm not in competition with anybody but my past and my future self. And so this person is a fellow traveler, they're a fellow co-creator. How can we link arms and walk together? And that's what the cultures need to do. Like, Black culture, as we call it, yes, there's so much that you're like, don't take that away from us, right? But I think that that's part of that nurture, right? Like, so we are all 99.9% from the same, source, and that's internal. But then there's things that we learn when we're growing up in these areas that we live in. And so it's a part of developing and honoring and loving that culture, but also understanding that there's another culture over here that's just as awesome, has great things that you can learn from. Food, I'm a foodie. But
Who doesn't like food?
Right, ways of being, even religion, like, how do they practice spirit? How do they practice their relationship with spirit? We have to come to this place where we honor it all. And we're just like, now it's time for us to evolve to this newer understanding that we're not in competition. It's not a race. We're here to complement and co-create. And so that's what oneness and social unity for me is really about. So, yeah.
Awesome. So as you're talking about creating this oneness and unity on the outside, I know one of the things that you talk about a lot is creating that on the inside, that we each need to be able to practice oneness and unity within ourselves. Would you mind sharing a little bit about what that means to you?
Yeah. So again, I believe our true nature is the nature of the cosmos. It's order, it's in order. And when we're in touch with that, we navigate the world that we're in a different way. It's peaceful, it's joyful, it's creative, it connects with others. And so, like I said before, when we have this division mindset, this competition mindset, we've separated ourselves from ourselves. So now we have a wound within ourselves that we're going to try to fill with whatever it may be, titles, labels, all of these things that make us feel better about ourselves. We'll put down others because we're just trying to fill that void. But we need to come back to a place of oneness in ourselves before we can have oneness with others. And so, really focusing on emotional intelligence. Why am I feeling what I'm feeling when this person says this thing to me? How can I center myself so that I'm not feeling these lower level emotions, fear, worry, doubt, anger, frustration? Those things are signs that you're separated from yourself. So this morning, my kids were doing virtual learning and I felt myself getting anxious, like, oh my gosh, I have this thing to do and I have this interview and they can't get on. And I literally had to come in the room, light my Palo Santo, and sit here with my Tibetan meditation music and come back to self. I'm safe. I'm here to create this experience. It's supposed to be joyful. I'm powerful. I'm strong. I'm connected to the power that creates the cosmos. My heart is clean and clear. I'm able to feel joy and peace and love in all situations. I'm going to only speak from this place. I can see into the unseen and know the unknown and have answers for challenges that I'm experiencing, and then finally remembering that I'm connected to the divine power that created all of this. And just reminding myself of that allows me to align with what's going on and say, hey, I'm just going with the flow. It is what it is. And it's happening for my good. It's happening for my expansion. So that's what I mean when I'm saying oneness within is not needing anything other than knowing who you are and where your power rests and lies.
Mm-hmm.
I feel awesome talking to you right now. I feel really awesome talking to you right now.
Why, thank you. Why, thank you. I started a channel, actually it launches on my birthday, that I'm talking about oneness. How do we create this culture of oneness within, without, and really coaching people through this, because this is what I've been studying. And like I said, it's a practice. I'm not perfect. I get it wrong all the time. But yeah, like you feel like you can take on the world and whatever it sends you. And we're really, really going to need that in the months to come, I believe.
So I hate to be the doubting Thomas, but we live in a world of capitalism, and I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. So there's a urban legend that Harriet Tubman, when she went to go free the slaves, there were some slaves that she just had to put a bullet in them because they just wasn't ready for what she's like. Yo, I'm taking you to freedom, and they were like, but what about master? And so I feel like in this world of capitalism that we live in, a lot of people aren't ready for what you are putting out right now. I'm not even I never put into words the way that you just put it into words, but I believe everything that you said. I believe that there's one race. I believe that there's only the human race, and I believe that we're all divine. And I try to do my best to see God in everything, even in every experience.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's not ready for this kind of thing. So where does that leave us who are connecting? We're connecting. Where does that leave us in this world of old white men running the government?
So great question. And I am well aware. I remember when I was writing my book and I was sharing it with my mom, she was like, some people aren't going to be ready for this. And I said, that's okay. They don't have to be. So here's the thing. When we talk about the world, the planet is different than the world. The world is your thoughts and your perspective and how you operate according to that. So there are different worlds, and I'm living in a different world than a lot of people are right now. And they're not going to understand it. But as I live it out, as I walk it out with wild abandon and unabashedly believing in and trusting in what the words that I say, people are going to notice. They may not get it right away. It may not come until 10 years from now. I'm seeing, you know, I've been doing this type of bridging work for 25 years, right? I'm seeing people who like 8 years ago were talking about me and saying horrible things, now leaving me messages like, I'm so sorry I didn't listen. You know what? And so it's not about me telling anybody else, hey, this is what you have to do, and expecting them to follow it. Like, that is a life that you will be a wounded healer for the rest of your life, because there is going to always be people who aren't going to hear you and aren't going to go with you. And I put a post up last week that said, you're going to be called some places where other people can't go, but you still got to go, press on. Because if you don't show them, they won't know it's possible. And so I'm living my life as an example. And yeah, I think that we can create this world. And that's why I say we're co-creating this world, this new paradigm, this new way of being. We're not asking permission from the old thing. That's dying. It is. It's an old dying world. It's kicking and screaming on its way out. And that's why half of the time I can't be bothered with paying attention to its antics on the way out. I have to focus on what I call my North Star, which is I want to live in a world that's fair and just, where everyone is valued equally. No one has to justify how they show up in the world. And so that's where I look. That's where I'm focused. When I get off focus, I'm gonna go back there. And that's what I'm looking for, people who are, and God is aligning me with people who are in that same mind frame. And we're gonna just link arms and go there. So
I am so happy to be talking to you right now, Pamela.
I'm be talking to you too, Christopher.
I'm so happy to be talking to you right now. You have no idea how happy I am to be talking to you right now. I'm going to be quiet. I prefer to listen to you. Great.
So if people want to hear more from you, Pamela, you mentioned a channel. How do they find that? How do they find you on social media? Where do they get your book? I know a lot of people are going to want to have more conversations with you. So that was my hope in inviting you. I knew I really wanted you and Christopher to meet each other. I was reaching out to Pamela as soon as I knew you and I were going to actually activate and do something, Christopher, because I'm like, these two people need to know each other.
Pamela is such a light. You are such a light, Pamela. You know, like I'm sitting here feeling good right now. You, such a light.
Thank you. Well, you are too. I'm honored just to be in this place, sharing space with you all. And I know this isn't the last time. So
no, it's not. It's not. I'm gonna be like Wendy when we bring Pamela back.
But yeah,
so where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook. It's Pamela at Pamela Grey Daniel. But my website is PamelaGrayDaniel.com, and on there you can find out about coaching, one-on-one coaching. I also have 2 channels that I have. One is Authentic Allyship, and then the newest channel that's going to be launching on September 29th, which is my birthday, is called Creating a Culture of Oneness. And right now I'm giving 40% off for if you register for that, because I'm going to be 40.
So are these channels
I'm actually doing your website right now.
Are these channels on YouTube, or I knew you were doing a Marco Polo?
Yes, so it's called Channels by Marco Polo. Okay. And it's a video format where I leave videos like 5 to 7 minutes, 15 if I get a little wordy. And people can go and check out the video, and then you can leave a video comment. For the Creating a Culture of Oneness, you will also get 1 half-hour coaching session with me a month. So yeah, that's how it works. And it's a great platform. It's a lot of fun. And then there's also other co-creators on there that you can connect with.
And I know a lot of folks are looking for people to coach them in being better allies. Mm-hmm. And I'm very selective about who I promote to be doing that work with people. And Pamela is one of the people that I would really recommend. She's going to elevate your way of thinking to get out of the muck and mire of where we are right now, to think about what's possible as we kind of evolve into this next era of being human together. So I'm really, really grateful that you're here. Grateful to you always, Christopher. And we will talk soon.
Oh, it's that time already? Wow.
That time already. We're over time.
Right?
So fast. We might have to do something a little more long form with Pamela at some point.
But you know what though? The time frame is perfect, but it's just like it's like I'm just listening, I'm getting into it, and bam, okay, time to go.
Well, thank you so much, Wendy, for having me. And Christopher, it is so nice meeting you. I just really thank you guys for the work that you're doing. And we're gonna create a world that works for us all. So thank you. I honor you both and have a great day.
Good night. Have a good day. Have a good day. Talk to you later, Wendy.
Bye.
Bye.